Alright, homeboys, we are back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do this, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the trailer for the Brave Heroes. Now, I already did a pretty long live stream. We streamed for about an hour, looking at the Fate channel and taking a look at our first initial reactions to all the heroes. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to skim through this trailer video that shows the Brave Heroes again. And I'm just going to give like a quick summary on what I think of all the heroes and the new skills. And at the end of the video, I'm going to come to a conclusion on which of the 4 Brave Heroes I think is the most valuable to pick up with the free pull, assuming you're not going to summon on the banner, which I would absolutely 100% recommend summoning on this banner if you have the orbs to do so. So, okay, we're going to start things off with Soarin here. Pretty nice artwork, by the way. The artwork was pretty solid across the whole banner. I just realized how wide her hips are there. Pretty nice. So this Soarin is an armored, colorless dragon type, and that's already one of the things that's kind of disappointing. Not only because we wanted Soarin to have a different weapon type. It seems like the go-to for Soarin has just been dragon-type weapons. But also because it's just an oversaturated pool. We have the Harmonized Tiki already, who's a colorless armored dragon, and she's pretty solid. We have a bunch of other armored dragons as well, like the Halloween Duma, who's really solid for far saving, and just a plethora of other options to go with. So she's already facing stiff competition. Not to say that any of the competition is really above her in any regards, but you know what I'm trying to say. It's like she's in an oversaturated pool, similar to God Swords, where you really have to be breaking the mold to stand out here. So her weapon, Valistone, has 16 might, -1 special trigger, and then after her action, or if Kanto triggers, she applies Divine Vein Stone to unit space and spaces within 2 spaces of her for 1 turn. So basically what that Divine Stone does is it's going to give defense and res up 6 to unit and allies who are standing on that tile. It's going to decrease the damage from foes' special attacks during combat by 10, with the exception of AoEs, and it also grants 50% DR from AoE specials. So it's a pretty defensive tool there. After Soarin takes her action, it's just going to create a massive radius of these Divine Vein Stone effect tiles where you're going to be gaining some nice defense bonuses from it. So very nice actually for a save armor tank like she is. However, the opponents are also able to make use of the Divine Dragon Stone if they happen to be standing on it. So let's say in the trailer they had a combat forecast. I'm not sure if they're going to show it here, but where she attacked and then she created all those Dragon Stones, the Divine Veins, and then an enemy attacked her after that, and they were standing on the tile, and they were gaining the bonuses from the tile. So her creating all those Dragonstone veins in such a wide radius of effect could actually come back to bite her in the ass. It's like, you want to be gaining the defense, but you don't want your enemies to also be gaining the defense from it as well. So it could be a double-edged sword in a way. She has Armored Flow, which is really nice. This was locked on Harmonic Tiki prior to this, so it does shoot up her value as a fodder option. Her unique A skill gives her Distant Counter. It gives her -7 to all enemy stats, and then a 7-point true DR on the enemy's first attack. And if they're doing a Brave attack, it'll be the first and second hit, whereas a regular attack will only be for the first hit and not the second. So it's a solid A skill. Dragons do have access to the Dragon Distant Counter seal, but I mean, having such a powerful version of Distant Counter is certainly very good. She also has a new Fodder B skill here, Counter Roar. I'm not sure if this is going to be Dragon Locked or Armor Locked or what. Having Roar in the name would lead me to assume it's going to be Dragon Locked, but it inflicts attacking speed -4 on the enemy, 30% DR on the foe's first attack, and then your next attack will do 30% bonus damage based on the enemy's attack prior to damage reduction. So it's a little bit of a more powerful version of Dragon's Wrath 4 there, so that could be good. Also, it grants a 7 HP recovery to her after combat, so she's premier fodder to kill off to any rearmed Grimas you may have lying around. You'll be able to pick up this... Well, actually, I guess not, because there's no Counter Roar 3, so if you wanted to get this, you'd have to pick up the whole thing in one shot. you would not be able to get Armored Flow. So that kind of sucks, actually. It does lower her value as fodder slightly, I would say. But still, Armored Flow, very strong. Of course, Far Save, very strong attack speed Far Save. So still has some value as a Far Save option. And definitely not a bad unit either. I mean, I may be playing her down a little bit, trying to, like, divert people's attention from her, but I do still think she's going to be a powerful unit for sure. There's no way she's not going to be. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Soarin up next. Now, I think Soarin is where things get very interesting on this banner. So he's going to be an infantry green tome type, and what's very interesting about Soarin is that his weapon is granting this new status effect here called Assign Decoy. So what this does is basically it turns your highest defense ally within 2 spaces of Soarin, or your support partner that's within 2 spaces of Soarin, or yeah, your support partner within 2 spaces of Soarin will become a save unit. So it's a save unit on the go. You can turn anything you want with high defense or the support ally effect into a save unit. So disgusting things will ensue. You could turn Fallen Byleth into a save unit if you wanted to. And just the list goes on and on. There's so many insane units that are good at tanking, but they unfortunately don't have save skills. Brave Dimitri is another one of them. So going to be very interesting to see how the God Sword meta now turns into the save meta as well when Soarin is being taken into account. Diamant as well. He'd be a pretty sick one to give save to. And what's also really cool about this is that it lets you bypass the save skill limit in modes like Summoner Duels and Aether Raids, where you're only able to have 1 unit with a save skill. Now you basically have 2. You could run a far save unit on the team, and then let's say you have Diamant on the team as well with ally support with Soarin. He's going to be granted Assign Decoy, so Diamant will be a near saver, and then you may still have a far save unit on the team, such as Harmonic Tiki or the Brave Korin we got on this banner. So things get pretty interesting when this guy is taken into account. Now, as far as his actual weapon goes, he's got -1 special trigger. He's got all stats of 6. He's also granting that as an ally support to the highest defense ally that's getting safe. So it's not just Assign Decoy. They're also just getting all stats of 6 for free there. And then also, if he's within 3 spaces of an ally, he gets a bonus to all of his stats equal to 5 plus the highest bonus on each stat between allies in 3 spaces, which is pretty much going to be 6 because he's already doing that. So he's effectively at plus 11 to all stats there. And then also, if his res is better than the foe's res, he's got res-based DR. So it's a strong weapon. I mean, more so primarily for Assign Decoy, I would say. I think that's a really cool thing that he does. But he's going to be a solid fighter, too, with all the stuff that he's doing here. Now, as far as fodder is concerned, that's where this guy really jumps up a lot in value. So he has Flare, which is a 3-hit mage special. It seems like it's going to be tome locked. And this one is going to activate like this. So if your HP is over 70% when special triggers, you get 60% bonus damage based on the foe's res. And then if your HP is below 70%, you're getting 40% damage based on the enemy's res, and you get 30% HP recovery. So it can be a nice damaging and healing option depending on what your HP happens to be. It kind of sucks that it doesn't cut DR, but I guess most mages that are going to be running this would also be able to have Special Spiral 4 or Magic Null follow-up, which this guy comes with. So it's not the biggest deal in the world. It's a pretty strong special. He has also Rare Talent, which is going to be a unique ace skill. Grants him all stats of 7 if his HP is over 25%. It also disables enemy effects that calculate damage using the lower of foe's defensive res. So he has built-in Mystic Boost, essentially. They can't get him with Wrathful Staff. And then also during combat, and also, or no, the Mystic Boost is during combat. Also, the following effects occur based on the value of his res minus the enemy's res. So if he has 1 or more points of res than the enemy's, then he's nullifying guard. And then if he has 10 more res than the enemy, or if the foe's range is 2, then he gets a Brave Attack. So Brave Attack against ranged enemies, and then he also, if he has 10 more res than the enemy, he gets the Brave Attack. So pretty strong stuff there. Obviously, Brave Attacking is one of the best in the game, and combined with Magic Null follow-up, which he comes with, it just really shoots that even more into proportion, like how strong the Brave attack is going to be on him. And then he's got Times Pulse 4 as well. So if you've got Ophelia's that you pulled on that Seliph and Ophelia banner, you could give her Flare, Magic Null follow-up, and Times Pulse 4. So Soarin's cooking here in terms of fodder. He's a really good option for that, just as well as he is for usability. Okay, so next up we have Gulvaig here. I think Gulvaig is... it's basically a tie here. So in terms of which unit you want to take for free, I would say it's probably between Gulvaig and Robin. These two are definitely going to be meta shakers, I think. So Gulvaig is going to be a flying blue tome type. Flying is really strong on her. She's going to be very annoying in Summoner Duels and Aether Raids, and we're going to go over why that is right here. So her weapon gives her Canto 1 for free, just because, very good on ranged units. Also, -1 special trigger. If unit initiates combat or a bonus is active on unit, grants all stats of 5 to unit, and also gets attack and speed up X to unit during combat based on the number of turns that have elapsed times 2. So on turn 1, you would get +2 to attack and speed. On turn 2, you would get attack and speed up 4. On turn 3, you would get attack and speed up 6, etc., etc. Also deals damage equal to 20% of unit speed. So she's got true damage based on speed there. And she has null follow-up as well. So a very offensive-oriented weapon here. Now, actually, her weapon itself, I guess when you consider the fact that she's a ranged unit with Canto, and then she has that unique skill as well that we'll take a look at, that's really going to put her over the top. But this weapon on paper by itself, I would say, is not quite as insane as the other weapons on this banner. Okay, she has Luna as her special. Now she has Flared Sparrow here. This is probably the strongest fodder skill on the banner, and probably even the strongest fodder skill in the game at the moment. I want to say, as far as like player facing, it really doesn't get any better than this. So when you initiate combat, you're just dealing 7 true damage for free, which cannot be reduced in any way. And then also you're getting attack and speed up 7 for initiating combat, of course, like you would expect from a Swift Sparrow variation. And then also you apply Divine Flame on 5 spaces in a line centered on the foe's space, oriented to the left or right based on the direction you're facing after combat. This is where this skill just really shoots over the top in terms of value. Being able to do this, I think, is like the dumbest shit in the world, man. Hold on, let's see. We'll play the rest of the video. We'll see if they show it in action, but they did show it in the actual Fate channel where she attacks the enemy and then she just creates this impassable line where the enemies have to expend extra movement to pass through. So Divine Flame, how it works, acts as difficult terrain for foes with a range of 2. Moving over this space costs +1 movement, and movement costs cannot exceed units allowed movement, and cannot be slowed by terrain effects do not apply. So things like Caden Lindy's C skill, or Caden Lindy's support, where she allows you to just walk right through trench tiles. And also for infantry types, they would pass through tree tiles. That's not going to work here. Okay, so she creates this line of fire tiles that you cannot pass through with Caden Lindy's effect. You're going to have to expel a ton of movement to go through those. And it's really easy for Gulvaig to just hit and run. So she's got Canto. She also has Gale Force, by the way, on her unique, her passive unique. So combining that with Canto 1, with this wall of fire that she creates that the enemies cannot pass through, this is like a hit-and-run god. She is really going to shake things up. And it's not like it's going to be easy to tank her either, because she's got a whole boatload of DR. We're going to take a look at that in a second. But as if the terrain, like, added movement cost for terrain wasn't enough, this skill also deals 7 damage to the foe, and as combat begins, deals an extra 7 damage to the foe if they're attacking while they're on the flame tile. So, like, what is this A skill, man? This is like the strongest A skill by far. I don't even think it's close. Like, attack and speed finish from... well, it wasn't attack and speed finish last year. It was attack and res finish on Tiki. How I thought that was, like, the most over-the-top A skill at the time. This is... Like, that plus 10, man. Okay, and her unique B skill, Gold Unwilling, inflicts speed and res -5 on the enemy. At the start of combat, if her HP is over 50% and she initiates combat, she gets 60% DR, making it very difficult to get rid of her. And then also, she gets Gale Force after combat, just because. Why not? And similar to Legendary Leaf, he's also going to, or Gulvig's also going to get Gravitied, and your pair-up cohort is also going to get Gravitied. But it's not really that big a deal. We have attack and speed 4 here anyway, so if she's jumping in to attack and then she inflicts Flared Sparrow's terrain effect, you're blocking the enemy's movement, and then you're getting Gale Force, you're getting Kanto 1, you can just oath yourself away again, jump out of the way, and you're creating a wall that the enemies can't go through. So this is where this unit gets really nuts as a possible player phaser. I think she's a really good answer to Cav lines in Aether Raids. If you're fighting Cav lines and you're having trouble, just being able to blockade the enemies with that wall of fire there is really going to be effective. So right there, we see after combat, she does that. These guys are all taking or it's costing them an extra movement to pass through these fire tiles here. So very powerful stuff. And then finally, we have Robin. So, oh my god, man. Like I said, it's between Gulvig and Robin, who I think you may want to pick up for free. Now, Robin himself might just be a better unit than Gulvig, but it's not just that Gulvig is a good unit too. It's also her fodder is way out of control with that A skill compared to Robin's fodder. I think Robin himself, his fodder is actually pretty weak, but his unique C skill makes up for everything on the spot. So let's go ahead and take a look here. He's going to be a sword infantry type. So he's essentially a god sword, but not really. I mean, he's the fastest god sword we have right now. He's got 48 speed base, and he's probably going to have a super boon as well. But what really makes him over the top is that C skill. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Alright, his weapon, Deliverer's Brand, gives him speed up 3. If his HP is over 25%, he gets all stats up 5. He gets 40% DR on the enemy's first attack. He gets tempo. And then also, if his max special cooldown count value is greater than or equal to 3, so they're trying to tell you use Bonfire or Ignis on this guy, and his attack triggers special, then when he triggers his special, he nullifies DR, which is strong. You don't have to run like Special Spiral 4 on him to do that, which is good. And then also at the start of combat, if his HP is over 25% and he triggered Glowing Ember, Bonfire, or Ignis during combat, then he deals adaptive damage, which is also really strong. I mean, this is a melee type unit doing adaptive damage, nullifying DR there. He's got tempo, he's got 40% DR on the first hit. His weapon innately just gives him speed up 3, and he's still getting all stats up 5. So it's a very strong weapon here. He comes with Ignis already. He's got attack and speed finish 4. So he has Gambit 4. This is going to be his main fodder skill. This is the new one that he introduces, and I don't really think this is that crazy, actually. So what it does is it inflicts speed and defense -4 on the foe during combat. And then also, if unit or foe's attack can trigger a special, then he deals damage during combat equal to max special cooldown count value -2 times 5. So in the event that you've got Bonfire, that would be 3 -2, which is 1 times 5 for 5 true damage per hit. If you're using Ignis, that would be 4 -2, which is 2 times 5 is 10. So 10 true damage per hit. And then if you had Aether, which wouldn't allow you to use the effect of his weapon, the extra effect on the final line, that would be 3 times 5 for 15. So really, they just want you to use Bonfire or Ignis on this guy for the most part. But if you wanted to, I guess you could go for Aether. And then he also gets DR based on a percent equal to his max special cooldown count value times 10. So if you had Aether, then he'd have 50% DR. If you had Ignis, he'd have 40%, and Bonfire, he would have 30%. That is on every attack, not the first, and also there's no other checks there. So it's okay. It's like not a bad B skill, but I feel like we probably have better B skills actually at this point compared to this. Like, if you're running a God Sword, it's probably just better to have Close Call 4, so you get the partial version of Phantom Speed, where you just get 7 free speed for checks, and then you're getting the 50% DR based on difference between speed stats, and you're still doing speed and defense -4 with that. Whereas this is just giving you bonus damage. I feel like Special Spiral 4 would essentially give you more bonus damage than this by nullifying enemies' DR, or null follow-up, magic null follow-up, or physical null follow-up, which would also be giving you damage reduction, cut, and then null follow-up on top of that, and some stat drops on the enemy. So it's not a bad B skill, but I think it's a little underpowered. Well, maybe not underpowered, but not quite as in contention as some of the other B skills we have going on right now. And then finally, Tip the Scales. This shit is busted as hell. What the hell were they thinking with this? So at the start of turn, if he's in 2 spaces of an ally, he gives Rally Spectrum to himself and allies in 2 spaces. Rally Spectrum we'll take a look at in a second, but it's just absurd. So unit can move to a space adjacent to an ally with Rally Spectrum. So he's able to warp to any ally that's got Rally Spectrum in 5 spaces, which is dumb. And then if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, he gets all stats of 3 during combat. Now, Rally Spectrum gives all stats of 5 during combat to every unit that has it, which just makes all your units better instantly. And on top of that, it also grants them the Diamant and also Brave Tiki effect, where they're able to do a special ramp prior to attacking the foe. This is going to counteract Scowl. So if the enemy has Scowl and they hit you with that -1 special trigger, you could just give them the middle finger here and get your special trigger back. So, like, what would be an example? I guess Scowl on Harmonic Tiki. She's trying to scowl your Duochroms so you can get rid of their pre-charged Deadeye, and then she'll be able to tank them. Not so fast, Tiki. They're just getting their special cooldown charge back, and then they just plop you with Deadeye, and you're dead. So, yeah, this is stupid. Also, so you get the -1 before combat if you have a Brave attack, or if you have -1 special trigger anywhere on your build. Basically, like 90% of units these days have -1 special trigger, and the ones that don't have Brave attacking, like female Summer Shez, for example. So yeah, you're always gonna have this in play for the most part. And if you don't have Brave attacking or -1 special trigger, then you just get 2 special prior to attacking. So it just gets even better. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, man, that kind of a longer breakdown than I was intending, but those are basically all of my thoughts on these Choose Your Legends units here. Which one of them you should pick up for free? If you just want to pick up your favorite, by all means. I mean, there's really no shame in taking any of them. They're all pretty cool. I would say, like, if you're a meta slave, then Robin and Gulveg are probably going to be your 2 primary go-to choices. Soarin's got really good fodder. He can give, like, all of his stuff out to Ophelia, like Flare, Magic Null Follow-Up, and Times Pulse 4, which is really cool. So he's got a lot of value as fodder. Again, with the double save unit thing, he can do that as well. So I'm probably going to go for Robin. It's going to be really tough to say no to Snake Mom, but I'm probably going to go for Robin there. I think Rally Spectrum is just a little too much, man. Like, we really did not need an effect like that in the game. So that's going to wrap us up. That is pretty much a nutshell discussion on, like, all of my thoughts after seeing them for the first time and coming to whatever conclusions I came to about all of them. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Which one are you going to be free pulling? And this is your boy Tacho signing out. So take care, fellas, and I'll catch y'all again on the flip side.